Do you want to know what the funniest part about dating is? Most of the pain doesn't come from the date. It comes from 3 days before the date. The rehearsals, the doom scrolling, the fake confidence that you build by trying to watch other people be confident on YouTube. The way that you open their profile 50 times like something new is going to appear. The way you start imagining every single possible outcome, including the one where you two get married, and the one where they laugh at you, and the one where they never even show up. And then the day comes and you cancel. You tell yourself that you just weren't feeling it. You tell yourself your intuition was speaking. You tell yourself you're protecting your peace. And maybe you are. Or maybe you just dodged the one thing you actually needed. Discomfort. Because dating is a skill. You don't level up a skill by thinking about it. You level it up by doing it badly a few times and surviving. So yeah, just go on the date, even if it sucks. And I know that probably sounds like low effort advice, like something your uncle would tell you while flipping burgers on a Sunday. But I mean it in a way that can genuinely change your life. Because the most dangerous thing you can do in dating is, as harsh as it sounds, not get your heart broken. The most dangerous thing you can do is never giving your life the chance to surprise you. And a lot of people right now are living in that trap. They want love. They crave love. They watch videos about love. They screenshot tweets about love. They save reels about love. But when it comes to actually showing up to be perceived, to risk a little bit of awkwardness for the possibility of something real, they disappear. They ghost their own life. They keep their standards high, their expectations higher, and their willingness to be uncomfortable at zero. And then they wonder why they can't find the right person. They wonder why nothing changes. Let me tell you a story. I once almost didn't go on a date because of one tiny thing. Not because the person was rude, not because they gave red flags, not because they were dangerous, because I thought the place that we were going was cringe. I'm serious. They suggested a spot, and my brain immediately went, nah, who even wants to go to some place like that? And I started building this whole case in my head about why it wouldn't work. If they pick that place, we don't share taste. We don't share values. If we don't share values, then this is going to go nowhere. I turned the location into a prophecy of how it was going to go. And that's what anxiety does. It tries to protect you by making you picky. And here's what happened. I went anyway. And yeah, the place was kind of mid. The lighting sucked. The music was too loud. The menu looked like it had been designed by someone who hates joy. But the conversation was good. Not perfect, but it was good. It was human. We talked about childhood stuff. We talked about weird hobbies. We talked about what we were scared of. We laughed. And I walked away that night realizing something. I wasn't avoiding bad dates. I was avoiding being seen. And those are not the same thing. A bad date is a waste of 2 hours. Avoiding being seen is a waste of years. That's the difference. Most people are not scared of wasting their time. They're scared of feeling stupid. They're scared of sitting across from someone and realizing that they don't know what to say. They're scared of rejection. They're scared of being reminded that they're not as smooth as they imagined they should be. They're scared that they'll be awkward and that awkwardness will mean something about them. And that's the lie that ruins dating for people. They think that every date is a test of their worth. So they only go on dates when they feel worthy. Which is almost never. Because the human brain is a critic. It doesn't cheer you on and encourage you. So you end up in this cycle where you want love, but you refuse to participate in the process of finding it. You want the reward without having to have the discomfort and the work that goes in behind it. And no one wants to admit this, but that's where the magic is. The bad dates teach you what you really want. The boring dates teach you what you're pretending to want. The awkward dates teach you how to recover. The dates that suck teach you boundaries and what you want. The date that goes nowhere teaches you that you can survive something going nowhere. And that is priceless, because what happens to people who avoid bad dates, they don't avoid pain. They avoid clarity. They stay confused and they stay in a life of fantasy. They keep idealizing people who they've never met. They keep building whole relationships in their head with someone who hasn't earned a single ounce of that space. And then they meet a real person and get disappointed because they didn't follow the idea of them that they had in their head. Real people will have quirks, they'll have off days, they'll not always text you perfectly. They don't always know what they want. So you retreat back into your head because your head is controlled. You know, your head can't reject you. But your head can't love you either. And some of you need to hear this. You don't find love by optimizing. You find love by showing up. And showing up means risking the possibility that it's not going to be the perfect date. Because the internet has taught us to treat anything that's not perfect and amazing is a waste. If it's not fireworks, it's trash. If there's not immediate chemistry, it's cooked. If you don't feel butterflies, then, well, there's no point. But butterflies aren't always love. Sometimes butterflies are your nervous system recognizing chaos. Sometimes butterflies are your body saying, this feels familiar because it's unstable. Some of the healthiest connections start out as calm. Not boring, but calm. And calm is hard to trust when your brain is addicted to intensity. So when you go on the date, don't hunt for fireworks. Go hunting for a character. Pay attention to the way they speak about other people. Pay attention to how they treat the waiter. Pay attention to whether they can be present without performing. Pay attention to whether you feel like you can be yourself around them, or if you have to audition for them. That's the stuff that matters. But you can't learn that from a profile. You can't learn that from texting. Texting is like marketing. But a date is reality. And some of you are spending weeks texting because you're too scared of reality. You're building comfort with a person that you haven't even met yet. And then when you meet, you're shocked that the vibe is off and they're not exactly who they said they were. Well, of course they weren't. You fell in love with a concept that they fed to you through a screen. So go on the date, even if it sucks, because even if it sucks, it gives you something. It gives you information, it gives you practice, it gives you a story. It gives you proof that you can survive discomfort. And people who win in dating are not the people who never feel discomfort. They're the people who don't let discomfort decide their entire life. There's another reason this matters, and it's deeper than dating. A lot of you have been living in avoidance for so long that your life has gotten smaller. Not just your love life, but your entire life. You avoid the gym because you don't want to look like a beginner. You avoid making content because you don't want it to flop. You avoid asking someone out because you don't want to be rejected. You avoid starting the project because you don't want it to be imperfect. You avoid everything that would make you grow. And then you call it being careful. But this being careful has a cost. Being careful makes you safe. It makes you stagnant. And stagnation creates this quiet resentment inside of you. You start feeling like life is passing you by. You start feeling like everybody else has something that you don't. You start feeling like you've already missed your moment, when really you've just been opting out and you still are. So the date's not just a date. The date is practice for how you live your life. Do you show up? Do you try? Do you risk being awkward for the chance of something that can improve your life? Or do you hide? Do you wait until you're perfect? Do you wait until you're guaranteed success? Because if you wait until success is guaranteed, then you're going to be waiting forever. Nothing meaningful ever comes with guarantees. And love definitely doesn't. Love is a risk, not a reckless risk, but a brave one, a human one. And if you want love that's real, you have to live like a person who's willing to be real. That means you might go on a date and it's awkward. Okay. That means you might go on a date and you don't feel the chemistry between the person. Okay. That means you might go on a date and they don't like you. Okay. You're not for everyone. That's not a tragedy. And the faster you learn that, the more free you become. Because rejection isn't the end. Rejection is a filter. It keeps the wrong people out of your life. But you can't be filtered into the right thing if you've never even entered the process in the first place. So here's what I want you to do the next time you're debating canceling a date. You're looking at the clock, you're thinking of an excuse, you're trying to decide, should I stay home and rot in my bed? Ask yourself one question. Am I canceling because I actually don't want to go? Or am I canceling because I'm scared I might be uncomfortable? And be honest, because your brain will lie to you in a voice that sounds mature. It will say, I'm just protecting myself. And sometimes that's true, right? There could be a person that you genuinely don't feel safe around. They've said things that make you feel like they're not going to be a good person, and that's fine. In that case, I'm not talking about that. But sometimes it's just fear with a suit and tie, and you can tell which one it is by what happens after you cancel. If you cancel and you feel relief and peace, and you feel genuinely good, you probably made the right choice. But if you cancel, and then you spend the night feeling empty, scrolling, regretting, wondering what could have happened, maybe this person was right for you, you didn't protect yourself, you abandoned yourself. And abandonment teaches your nervous system a lesson too. It teaches it that you can't be trusted to show up in your own life. And that's heavy. So show up, not for them, but for you. You know, for the information. Go even if it's just for a story. Go because you're building a version of yourself who doesn't run from discomfort. A version of yourself who can sit across a stranger and be present. A version of yourself who's brave in small ways that compound and compound and compound until your life is better than it used to be. Just go on the date, even if it sucks. Because the worst case scenario is not that it sucks. The worst case scenario is that you keep avoiding, and then one day you realize that you've become really good at being alone. And not the peaceful kind of alone, the scared kind. And you deserve better than that. And if you're trying something new, just know I believe in you. And if you've been hiding and you want to come back into your life, start by showing up. Have a good day.